So we have our flags set up. We know when the user wants to view the menu as either vertical or horizontal, but we need to style things now. I'm in our PS menu template.html file, and you can see that this div right here has a class of PS menu area, and that refers to the area that is holding the menu. So let's take a look at that in the CSS file. I'll go to psmenu.css, and we can see that it's right here on top. We actually want two more areas. We'll keep the PS menu area, but we'll also add a PS menu area vertical, and we'll also add a rule for PS menu area horizontal. And the default is vertical, so I'll just cut out these three items, width, minimum height, and padding top, and I'll add those to vertical. And for PS menu area horizontal, we're going to want to set the width to the full width of the viewport. So that'll be 100%. And we'll also set the height to just 40 pixels. So now when the menu is shown vertically, we're going to keep our PS menu area. That's fine. But for vertical menus, we want to add this class. And for horizontal menus, we want to use this class. So going back to our PS menu template, let's add an ng class directive to the surrounding div. And we'll start off with PS menu area vertical, and we'll assign that when the isVertical flag is set. And we're running out of space here, so I'll make some room. And we're also going to want to add the class PS menu area horizontal when it's not vertical. So if the vertical flag is set, we'll use PS menu area vertical. If it's not set, then we'll use PS menu area horizontal. I don't think everything's in place yet, but let's just save this and see what we get when we run it. I'll hit the toggle button, and we can see that our menu area did move to the top. The items need a lot of work, but at least we have our black menu border on top now. And I'll click the button again, and we're back to having our vertical menu. So things still need some work, but at least we are getting our menu area to show across the top. So let's work on getting these items under control. They're still listing vertically. Let's go to our menu item template, and we can see the list item that's used within the menu. Let's add a similar ng class here. And let's add the class PS item horizontal. So PS item, this is only referring to this item, not the entire menu like we were doing before. So we'll add this class soon, PS item horizontal. And we only want to set this as a class if it's horizontal, which means not vertical. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to turn isVertical for the item into a function, and I'll show you why in a second. Looking back at our menu template, we have the flag isVertical on our scope for the menu, but we don't want to maintain that same flag for every item. So for the items, we'll create a function called isVertical, and that'll just look at the menu controller and get the isVertical value from there. Now before I forget, let's add this class, and then we can add the isVertical function. PS item horizontal. I'll just add it at the bottom. Now in order to get these items displaying horizontally, we'll set the display to inline block, and I'll add a few more rules. So we're setting the width to 165 pixels, and we want this to be important. This will override other classes. We're setting a left margin of 20 pixels, and we're setting a top margin of 5 pixels, and the line height is 1.5 times the size of the font, 1.5 em. We also want to make this important so that it overrides any other rules in CSS. So let's go back to where we were in the template, and we have our class now, so let's also set our function, isVertical. We'll look at the PS menu item directive file, and we have our scope is active function, and right under that we'll add our scope is vertical function. And we just need to return our controller dot is vertical function. We don't have access to the scope on the controller, so we need to implement the isVertical function as well on the controller. So we'll go to PS menu controller, and I'll just add it right here. This for the controller isVertical equals function, and we'll just return our scope isVertical flag. So let's save everything and see how it looks. So I'll click our toggle button, And we still have major problems, but at least our items started showing up. And if we click on these, we can still see that the routing is working fine. Now equipment is a group, so we're going to have to make the same change to that. I'll just copy this ng class directive, and we'll add that to the group template. And looking in the directive, the item directive, I'll copy our isVertical function, and I'll add that to the group directive as well. So there is a little bit of code reuse here between the group directive and the item directive. But overall, there's just not a whole lot of code, and it might make things more confusing if we tried to do all this in a third file to consolidate the duplicate code. So I'm just going to leave this as is. Let's run it and see what we get. I'll click the toggle button, and now we get our items lining up. So we're getting closer. There are still some major problems. The routing works okay. We want to get rid of this indicator though. Like, it's good enough just to route to the page and not have to show the indicator while it's horizontal. Another problem is the indicator on equipment. We don't need to show that at all either. If we click on the equipment button, we'll see a major problem. Like, its items are also lined up vertically. So we need to fix that. And the final thing I see that needs to be fixed is our toggle button here. The toggle button still works. We're back in vertical mode, and I'll go back in horizontal mode again. But we want to take the button and place it up here in the upper right corner. And we'll fix all these issues in the coming videos.